Branding, how can I differentiate your product?
It's all about storytelling. How well you narrate your story. So Cadbury has been a product which is for children, right? That is how Cadbury had positioned themselves. But there was a time, there was an ad, if you remember, and we've all been brought up with that. A remarkable ad to change the way Cadbury's been looked into. So that is storytelling. And it's actually the perception changes, the way people look at it changes. The women started picking up the product. So all ads that you see, there's a lot of background research that goes into to make an ad. It's not easy. Start with social media. Do something interesting in social media. Have a beautiful, maybe a video or talk about your brand a little bit. Have some nice story. Do something on LinkedIn. Jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai. You want to promote yourself or position yourself, right? So how you have to tell me how you want to be seen. Now, if you tell me this is how I need to be seen, then I will work out a strategy for you that this is how you need to be seen. For that, you need to be seen in this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places.
Most of the buying decisions by people are made by their emotions. There are studies which are done on it.
Yes, ads are all about psychology.
Absolutely.
How you work on the mind of a customer.
अगर आप बिजनेस करते हैं या फिर फ्रीलांसर हैं तो आज का एपिसोड सिर्फ आपके लिए है। बिजनेस में कामयाबी हमें खुशी देती है और बिजनेस सक्सेस के लिए ज़रूरी है कि हम ब्रांडिंग को भी समझें, क्योंकि जो दिखता है वही बिकता है। तो ब्रांडिंग आपके बिजनेस को कैसे बूस्ट कर सकती है, आज उसी बारे में बात करेंगे, क्योंकि हमारे साथ जुड़ी हैं खास मेहमान ब्रांडिंग कंसल्टेंट की फाउंडर गार्गी सरकार। लेकिन हम एपिसोड शुरू करें उससे पहले अगर आपने हमारा चैनल सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो प्लीज़ इसे सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए, क्योंकि जब आप सब्सक्राइब करेंगे तभी तो हमें पता चलेगा कि हम आपकी लाइफ में वैल्यू ऐड कर पा रहे हैं। तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं आज का सफ़र। A warm welcome, Gargi. So good to see you और बहुत कुछ हमें सीखने को मिलने वाला है आज. That's why I'm very, very excited for this episode.
I'm excited too to be here and have a conversation with you. Great.
See, our channel is all about health and happiness. और
Lovely.
जब आपका business successful होता है, you become automatically happy.
Yes.
Right? और इसीलिए मुझे लगा कि लोगों को branding के बारे में पता होना चाहिए, क्योंकि that's something that highlights your brand. और जब एक एक्सपर्ट से हम जानेंगे कि आखिरकार ब्रांडिंग की वैल्यू क्या है, देन आई एम श्योर दिस एपिसोड इज गोइंग टू बी वेरी वेरी पावरफुल। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट एंड लेट्स गेट टू नो कि आखिरकार ब्रांडिंग का फायदा क्या है, क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो सिमिलर प्रोडक्ट्स बेच रहे हैं, बट ब्रांडिंग, हाउ कैन आई डिफरेंशिएट योर प्रोडक्ट?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Veena, for this. Branding is something which has been there in the market, and it's all about storytelling. How well you narrate your story of your brand or your product, especially it starts with the product, and how you narrate your story of the product, that becomes a brand in due course. And how you position yourself, the team members who are there in the market, how they are speaking to the people, or everything is branding. So how you are promoting yourself, how are you talking about your product, that becomes a brand in due course. And then you are seen as a thought leader. So that's what branding is all about. And what happens in branding is how you position. Now positioning is something which is, there's a tagline that we have done something with a brand called Talod, and the tagline that we gave was Aapne farmaya aur humne banaya. So it's nice. Such a catchy line, and it's everybody loves it. Aapne farmaya, so you asked for it and we made it, and we'll make it for you again and again. That's what it is all about, branding, and that sticks in your head. You know about it, what you're talking about, and then people, reiterate it and they pick up the product. It's as simple as that. I do not want to use jargons because people will not understand jargons. I would rather use certain things that people will really relate to it, right? So that's all about is branding. And even you can do personal branding. You actually build yourself up as a personal brand person, and you can do that also. That's personal branding is.
Gargi, you spoke about storytelling.
Yes.
कि हर प्रोडक्ट के पीछे एक स्टोरी तो होती है कि आखिरकार वो एग्जिस्टेंस में आया कैसे. Of course it's a product, but when we tell a story along with the product, it creates an impact.
Absolutely.
तो अगर आप बता पाएं कि स्टोरी टेलिंग की क्या वैल्यू है, क्योंकि मैक्सिमम एग्जिबिशंस में अगर आप जाओगे या किसी स्टोर में आप जाओगे, वहाँ उनकी स्टोरी नहीं होती है.
Yes.
राइट, बट जब वो ब्रांड बिल्डिंग कर रहे होते हैं तो वहाँ उनकी स्टोरी होती है. और इस स्टोरी की क्या इंपॉर्टेंस है?
स्टोरी की बहुत इंपॉर्टेंस है. व्हाट हैपेंस इज इफ यू okay, let's go back to a time when Cadbury was launching, right? And they were doing their branding. So Cadbury has been a product which is for children, right? That is how Cadbury had positioned themselves. But there was a time, there was an ad, if you remember, and we've all been brought up with that. In 90s, there was this ad, there's this woman who walks down and she started dancing.
Yes.
Okay, and then when her boyfriend actually plays cricket,
right,
and she's dancing, and that something has been a remarkable ad to change the way Cadbury's been looked into. That ad actually resonates something that how women could be, and that ad actually showcased that those days in 80s, today women are very different, and in 80s women dancing like that was not acceptable. So that entirely changed the perspective of how the brand being perceived in the market. Okay, so that is storytelling, and it's actually the perception changes, the way people look at it changes. The women started picking up the product, a lot of confident women started picking up the product. Just imagine with that ad and that storytelling, that entire thing changes. So this is what storytelling does. It changes a perspective of an individual, the entirety when you talk about that, everything changes with that.
Absolutely. और स्टोरी टेलिंग से ये भी होता है कि हमारा ब्रेन अलग तरीके से फंक्शन करता है.
Absolutely, it's a lot of psychology. So all ads that you see, there's a lot of background research that goes into to make an ad. It's not easy. It's not that what we do is, when you create an ad, we do a research on the consumer. We do quantitative or a qualitative research and figure out what is working, what is not working. From there, an entire positioning tagline comes in. From the tagline, we create a story. From the story, we do the ad that comes out, right? So there is a process that is followed to actually deliver an ad in the market.
So as a brand expert, you start from there.
Yes. Start from a research, because without research nothing works. Trust me on this, because with research you actually make a point that this is what you are trying to talk, and then you say this is the total market, and from that market you decide what would be the right audience and why are we targeting these audience, and how do you alter their mindset and the audience mindset, right? So these are all processes, and then the ad is created.
Right. It's so important to understand this process, क्योंकि प्रोडक्ट बहुत सारे लोगों के पास है.
Absolutely.
स्पेशली अगर हम छोटे ब्रांड्स की बात करें या छोटी जो प्रोडक्ट्स होते हैं उनकी बात करें. आई विल जस्ट टेक एन एग्जांपल मे बी ऑफ एन आयुर्वेदिक क्लिनिक.
यस.
ओके, लेट्स टेक दैट एग्जांपल. बहुत सारे आयुर्वेदिक क्लिनिक होंगे, लेकिन शायद उन्हें नहीं पता कि एक स्टोरी उनकी भी हो सकती है और अलग हो सकती है, और उस स्टोरी से वो इतना इम्पैक्ट छोड़ सकते हैं अपने क्लाइंट्स के ऊपर. क्योंकि जब हम बहुत सारे ब्रांड्स की बात करते हैं ना, तो वो ये कहते हैं कि हमारा प्रोडक्ट तो भाई सबके लिए है. एंड नाउ व्हेन आई एम टॉकिंग टू एन एक्सपर्ट, तो मुझे ये समझ आ रही है कि आपको अपना टारगेट ऑडियंस पता होना चाहिए.
Absolutely correct. And Ayurveda is the upcoming, and it's something which we really need to understand. Nobody understands Ayurveda very well, but if we have a right story to narrate, we can really make it big. That's the future. So if an Ayurvedic clinic who wants to really talk about themselves, they should have a nice story, proper narration, and that should be up in the market. Either, see, now today's social media, okay, so you start with social media, because when you start something you do not have a lot of budgets. So what you need to do is start with social media, do something interesting in social media, have a beautiful, maybe a video, or talk about your brand a little bit, have some nice story, do something on LinkedIn, do things which will actually reach out to the right audience, and do a little bit of a boosting and do all that stuff. That works, right? And those are not very expensive, and the number of people who are there on your page, who has come, who has actually from which city, the personality, you get all those information that you will not do it when you do a billboard. You might not be able to get those information. So when you start your mushrooming, the only thing you need to do is talk about it. Jo dikhta hai wo bikta hai, as we say.
Absolutely. This is such a powerful tagline, I would say, कि
yes.
जो दिखता है वो
वही
बिकता
है. That's it.
और अगर किसी को अपनी स्टोरी समझ नहीं भी आ रही है, and that's why brand experts are there,
yes.
who will help you design a story.
Exactly.
And in case you want to get connected with Gargi, her details are in the description box. Because sometimes when you talk to the expert ना, आपको स्टोरी समझ आने लगती है कि है, but you are not realizing it कि इसके पीछे कोई स्टोरी है. A lot of people I meet sometimes, in fact I'll just share a story with you. I met a lady on this episode only, and I understood her story that she was going through a struggle, and that's how she became something that she was.
Okay.
And it was so powerful, you know, कि आपको कोई तरह की problem थी, and you started finding a solution to it,
Yes.
and then you become an expert, and that's a powerful story, right?
Trust me, this exactly happened with me. Okay, when I started my journey, I moved from city like Calcutta, from Calcutta to Delhi, and Delhi to Mumbai. So that's been my journey, and I had a journey which has been like a roller coaster, I would say. So all kinds of stuff that happened in my life.
And we would want to listen to that.
Yes, I will talk about it. So I was a marketing head for a brand called Absolute Vodka, Remy Matcha, these brands. I was heading them in the country. And from there I moved to Mumbai. I started my own business. I started my Ra Consulting, which is Ra Brand Consultant, where I figured out one thing when I was a marketing head, the kind of challenges I used to face with agencies. So agencies used to come and give me very nice rosy pictures of nice creative and stuff like that. But then I realized this is not what I'm looking for as a marketing person. I'm looking for, end of the day, ROI and bottom line. If that's not happening, then why should I have an agency just for nice creatives? That is where I took it on, and most of the marketing people and sales people, as well as the CEOs of companies today, they really look for ROI end of the day. That what would this piece of nice ad is going to give me in return. So it is just not the ad and how you deliver the ad, where you deliver the ad, what is the story that you're narrating, and what is the call to action. That would give me the numbers. So that's where I figured out this is where the gap is, and most of the consultants who are there, okay, I'm not in really this thing about it, but I want to say that this is my USP. I work on ROI in due course of time with storytelling.
Okay, and if we can simplify a bit of it, how do you actually identify, because if there is an ad, let's say, is it possible to find out the ROI? Is there a process? Is there a
Yes,
process
so
that
when
is
you
being
do in
followed?
social media, what kind of views, what kind of likes, shares, you know, maybe more in, for example, in social media, how we figure out is it's more than 10% engagement on your likes, shares and profile. That means you have mostly 3 to 2% is the engagement rate. But if it is more than 10%, that means you are getting a good number. How many people are sharing, how many people are commenting on the post or the creative or maybe a video or a reel that you post, right? So those are important aspects that we need to look at. And who are your target audience? Who's looking at it? Who is commenting? These are the most important thing that you need to look at. And and then how many leads that you got out of it? How many people have inquired about it? So this will help us to understand. These are the measuring factors.
So this is how an expert can help you. Why
Yes.
I asked you to elaborate on it, क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोगों को लगता है यार सोशल मीडिया तो हम खुद ही मैनेज कर रहे हैं.
नहीं.
Yeah, when an expert gets in, what is an ROI that they are going to get? Because a
Exactly.
lot of people feel कि यार मेरे पास तो graphic designer है ना, वो तो post कर ही देता है ना.
Exactly.
So why to get in somebody who
It's
is
not a
managing the
post.
brand? Yeah.
It's always remember just not a post. It's what you are communicating with the post is important. Post, anybody can do it. What is the strategy behind that one post or a video that you post? Who is looking into your post? That's important.
ओके गार्गी, टेल मी दिस थिंग कि अगर किसी का छोटा बजट है, स्पेशली मैंने आपको ये डिटेलिंग में जाने को इसलिए बोला क्योंकि बहुत सारे छोटी जो कंपनीज होंगी ना, जो MSME स्पेशली होंगी, अभी वो ब्रांडिंग पे इतना ध्यान नहीं देती हैं. लेकिन अगर उनका बजट थोड़ा कम है, लेट्स से 1 लाख रुपए का हम बजट लेते हैं, क्या इतने छोटे बजट में भी दे कैन गो फॉर ब्रांडिंग?
Yes, they can start small. They don't have to be really spending a lot of money. 1 लाख रुपए में आप छोटे सोशल मीडिया से ही स्टार्ट करो, एंड सोशल मीडिया में आप रील्स बनाओ. बट वॉट एवर यू आर मेकिंग, दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट इट हैज़ टू बी थॉट थ्रू एंड इट हैज़ टू बी स्ट्रेटेजिक. जो भी ब्रांड कर रहे हैं, फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर हम आयुर्वेदा की बात कर रहे हैं, तो हाउ देयर कंपनी, विच एवर द आयुर्वेदिक ब्रांड is going to impact and help a consumer, वो important है बोलना. It cannot be like I'm talking about only myself. It has to be how it's going to impact and how it will help a consumer. तो वैसे एक छोटे stories या reels बनाए and put it up on social media. Utilize your Instagram, utilize your Facebook, maybe just do podcast. You know, all this kind of stuff is going to help.
और इतने छोटे बजट पे भी क्या ROI एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं?
ROI आप एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हो, maybe a 5%, not more than that to start with, but by then when you start being seen in the market, people will start recognizing you. Then your sales will start happening. People will come to you. See, what happens with branding and what happens with any positioning is trust factor goes up. I trust you more. When you are seen on the market, then I trust you more. So when trust happens, people start coming to you. So the trust is very important, and that is only possible when you start talking and narrating your story to the market and people.
Right, and of course social media is very powerful.
Very powerful today. Social media में आप Twitter करो, आप कोई influencers कर लो. जो influencers are big today, influencers से आप get the influencers in your outlet if you have it, and you call them there. They experience your product and they talk about it, right? So these are not very expensive. In 1 lakh में आप अच्छे से कर सकते हो, and then you start having more people coming into your fold.
Okay, let's now talk about luxury brands. क्योंकि
Yes,
आप
please.
luxury brands को भी cater करते हो. Let's say somebody wants to get into the market.
Yes.
And let's say it's an international brand already, but now it wants to get into the market. So if you can tell me some steps.
Sure.
और let's say अगर वो नहीं भी है अभी international market में, it's just a luxury brand. Luxury in itself means कि वो बहुत niche audience है उसका,
Correct.
right? So what are the steps that you generally follow as a brand strategist?
So the first thing that you do is give them a complete understanding of the market. What is the luxury space? Consumerism क्या situation है आज के date पे? What is happening in the market? That is important. The number of people, number of middle class which is going on, the upper middle class, all that. You give them a full research document. They understand the research document. Then you give them a pricing strategy. Then you give them a distribution strategy, and then you start saying, now we get a right distributor who has understanding of luxury brands in the market, get them on board who has an understanding, and then and of course your relationship is very important with the principals there, that you get them on board. They also have to trust you, because international companies, we've always seen that they do not trust Indian companies much because they have gone through bad times. So they trust people who have a good lineage in the international market, and they would be able to do things in India. So they only give it to those people who have a lineage in that market. Okay. So then get that person on board, create a good team, have good marketing story to narrate, participate in bigger luxury events and promotions and activations, do stuff which is on the luxury space and get to the right audience. That's it. And then build it up slowly. Luxury is not mass, of course, we all know it. So build it up slowly, get into the market where you actually talk to the customer and get them on board with you and make them understand. And also the most important luxury is exclusivity. You make them feel exclusive. Every individual feels that this is only for me, and cater to their ego.
Right.
Very important.
Very
important.
Like Rolex, मतलब
Yes.
उनके शोरूम में जाओ तो पहले तो वो आपको बोलेंगे कि आपके पास है क्या Rolex already.
Exactly.
And then only maybe we can
Yes.
cater to you. Otherwise we can't cater.
I'll
to
give you one example. There are people who make it a statement. Say if they have a BMW or they have a Ferrari, just giving an example, they'll make sure that make it a statement. They'll keep their key on the table. So that's a statement that you're making, that I have a Ferrari or I have a BMW. That's a statement. That's a story that the person is saying that I have this. Or I have a Rolex. It shows, I'm wearing a Rolex. You don't have to say. So the people who are in the luxury space, they don't speak. You don't have to be loud with them. You just have to make it a statement by just keeping something or wearing something. You just, this guy has a Rolex. So we say this, right? So that's what luxury does. You have to make sure that you make that person feel exclusive and cater to the ego of that person. Simple. Then luxury is sold.
Awesome.
Personalized ways, personalized invite only for you, with your name carved on it, all that. Cartier, okay, Cartier gives us engraved, your name is only engraved. So those kind of stuff we need to do to sell luxury. And then we are sold. We do all these bigger brands. Let's go to, if we look at Geo Plaza, right? I mean, hardly see people there. but there are people who will really come there and buy their product, like a Cartier. I'm talking about the Geo Plaza, the other one, which is the high end. You have Cartier, and they've got all the biggest of brands, which are really not even there in India, but few brands who are there from international market. And it's a place that I say there hardly any footfall, but only few people who've come going to a shop and picking up stuff. So that's what it is, all luxury is all about.
Yeah, because they're not mass brand, तो उनको number of audience से फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, क्योंकि maximum brands are looking for जहाँ पर maximum visibility है. But the luxury brands are not into that.
No,
they would not
at all.
promote themselves like a mass brand.
No, not at all. The way they narrate their story, every aspect of the story is narrated in luxury. So that's what luxury does. And if we can actually cater to that, then we are sorted.
Right. And as you said कि background से पता चलता है कि आप luxury brand को help कर सकते हैं कि नहीं, because you have been working in the industry for almost 20 years.
Yes.
And that's how you got the luxury brand also, right?
Exactly. So I worked with Louis XIII, okay, which is really luxury, and we had a great event at Taj, where Neeta Ambani's, we did a huge event where we had paintings being sold and a curator over there and like a big stuff. So that's how Louis XIII was sold. Louis XIII is 1.5 lakh a bottle. Now, 1.5 lakh a bottle, you don't sell it in a mass way, you sell it in a luxury way. You call the right audience, they come, they enjoy the product with a 10-course meal, and all that happens, right? With a nice violin and all that stuff that happens, right? So that's how you promote luxury. You don't, and then the invites that have been given to people were like personalized invite. There was somebody who went to each person's house and invited them. It was not like send on a WhatsApp or an email like that. It was been invited. They got a nice box of a miniature of Louis XIII with a beautiful card, and somebody who goes and invites them, just, we would like you to come for our event. So that really made that other person feel very special. It's like really, really special, that's what.
Of course, and it's about the luxury segment we are talking about. But
Yes.
let's come back to a segment which is either mid or maybe a startup. Maybe
Yes.
they are just starting. So branding exclusively नहीं है luxury brands
Not
के लिए.
at all.
Branding is for all segments.
All segments.
आपका कोई भी business हो,
Absolutely.
right? Even if you are selling mugs, let's say.
Yes.
Your branding can still happen. And in
Exactly.
fact, it will help you reach out to bigger audience, reach out to
Yes.
more people,
Yes.
and create a value for
Value
yourself,
for themselves.
right?
And the story, the narration of the story has to change. That's about it. Luxury, your story narration is different, and you're catering to a different mass, a different crowd,
Audience, yeah.
audience. And when it comes to mass brands, the story is different. You cater to, and the mediums are also different. See, when you're doing luxury, you do not do mass mediums. You don't do carpet bombing. You do things like which are very exclusive only for you, right? But when you're doing mass, you can do a little bit of a carpet bombing. But if you have less money, then you start with social media. Luxury, you don't do social media too much, because social media is a lot of mass, right? So social media, you do exclusive certain aspects in the luxury space. There you do certain other things. You do a lot more personalized events. That helps in luxury, okay? Then I will talk to you one-on-one. But whereas in social media, it's a lot of mass. Everybody is seeing your ad that is coming on the social media, or do a billboard. In mass, people have the money, then you do a billboard, you do a TV ad, you do something or the other. But well, today all MSMEs have less of money, so I always tell them that judiciously spend the money. Don't spend in one go. Spend judiciously and see what returns. Post 6 months, we will do a research and figure out whether we have reached in the right direction. If the course correction has to happen, we'll do the course correction and we'll make our direction. We'll change the direction.
Absolutely. ठीक है, ये तो ब्रांडिंग की बात हो गई कि आपके पास प्रोडक्ट है या सर्विस है, आप उस प्रोडक्ट एंड सर्विस की ब्रांडिंग कर रहे हैं.
Correct.
इसके अलावा आई स्टार्टेड सीइंग पीपल आर डूइंग अ लॉट ऑफ पर्सनल ब्रांडिंग आल्सो,
yes.
राइट? डू यू हेल्प देम इन बिल्डिंग अ पर्सनल ब्रांड? एंड आल्सो आई विल जस्ट अटैच दिस क्वेश्चन टू इट. अगर आपकी ब्रांडिंग हो चुकी है, आपके प्रोडक्ट या सर्विस की ब्रांडिंग हो चुकी है, देन आल्सो डू यू थिंक somebody needs personal branding?
Yes, you do, because see, you get stagnated. For example, if you're an actor, okay, you get stagnated, right? You are known in a certain way. I'll give you a little example. I was working with a lady. She's a Maharashtrian. She's been known in the local circuit. I'll not take her name right now. She's known in the local circuit, and she wanted to become a brand herself.
Okay.
So when she came to me, we had a discussion, and the discussion was that we would definitely help you to build you as a brand, okay? And you need to be seen differently in the light of what? A producer, a director who will give you the role, the kind of role that you're looking for. You're looking for mainstream roles, right? You're not looking for a side actor. You'll be in a mainstream role. For that, what we did was we did a photo shoot with her. The entire photo shoot was differently done. The way she was, the attires, her dress, her look, her posture, her demure, everything was different. So that itself changed the look and feel of her, how when we started posting, how we actually went up in the social media and what we did. So that really helped. And then now she's doing a lot of mainline films. She's doing it because she's been known as a regional actor. From there she moved into this. So this is one when you want to start off and you want to really alter your space. That is one. So there was somebody who came to me again. He's well known in the market, but he wants to again change his image. Like what we say in a product or a brand is repositioning of a brand, right? Like Cadbury repositioned themselves, and they reposition every 4-5 years, by the way. That's very important to reposition yourself, or even a brand, or even a person, because you reposition yourself, people get tired of seeing you in a certain way. They want to see a new avatar of you. So then you want to see me as a new avatar, then what do you do? So as personal branding, you need to work on that also. Your journey would be different, your strategy is different, and you work on that and we help them. But mostly I work on product and brands, and what I always believe is a product is also a human being, by the way. Product is a human being. Product is not, you look at a personality of a brand. Okay? And the personality of a brand is, you always say whether this brand is a male or a female. It's also like that, because your brand is a personality of who you are as a person. If you are CEO of a company or MSME, what is the way you want to look at this brand as? So there are a lot of brands also alters the way you want to look at the brand. It can be a male or a female, and male female mostly it happens, a brand can be looked into a male or a female. The personality of the brand is very important, and that's like you take the brand as a human being.
Okay, that's a new perspective to
exactly
me. Yeah.
Exactly,
absolutely new. That
exactly.
Okay, brand is also
a human being. Yes, it is a human being. It's like the way I am. If you are a brand, then what is your personality? Accordingly, all my strategies would really get into it. I'm going to work on that strategy, how that personality I need to position you in the market, and so you can tell me that. For example, if you want to promote yourself or position yourself, right? So how you have to tell me how you want to be seen. Now, if you tell me this is how I need to be seen, then I will work out a strategy for you that this is how you need to be seen. For that, you need to be seen in this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places, so that people will understand you like this. So everything is all about positioning, as said.
Right.
Where you are, how you are positioning yourself, what are you saying, all that matters.
And see, all this thought process can only come from a professional.
Yes, I agree.
It cannot come, मुझे लगता है कि जिसने इसके बारे में समझा नहीं है, उसको लगता है ब्रांडिंग इज ओके, ठीक है मैंने कुछ भी पोस्ट कर दिया है, ठीक है यहाँ पहुँच गए, वो पोस्ट कर दिया, कभी बीच पे घूम रहे हैं वो पोस्ट कर दिया. See, this is how strategy works. As you said, कि if you want to portray yourself in a certain way, this is something that is to be done.
Exactly.
There are steps.
Exactly. There are people, if you look at film stars today, they have a full team. Like Shah Rukh Khan himself has a full team in place. How he needs to be positioned, they tell him how he needs to be positioned, when he needs to be going out, when his video needs to be out. All that is like worked on. So there is a proper strategy that goes into even build these people up, right? So yeah, so that's all about branding, and what is the story you want your customer or a consumer to listen or hear or believe about you.
Right. And as you mentioned story again, because story इंसान को बहुत इमोशनल भी कर देती है, राइट?
Yes.
एंड मोस्ट ऑफ द बाइंग डिसीजंस बाय पीपल आर मेड बाय देयर इमोशंस. देयर आर स्टडीज
Yes.
व्हिच आर डन ऑन
Yes,
इट दैट वी
absolutely.
से दैट आई एम लॉजिकली टेकिंग दिस डिसीजन, बट at the back of your mind,
Yes.
95% of your decisions are made by your
It's
subconscious.
impulse. Yeah, you do impulse buying. You go to a shop, and also children has a lot of effect on especially. That's why if you look at a lot of these brands like Horlicks, or you look at any of these brands, what they do is they show children a lot, because children are, though the primary audience or the primary customer is the mother,
Yeah.
or in
The
the
parent,
smaller ones
yeah.
are the parents and mostly the mother. But the children have a great influence. I want to get this product. If we always look at, so what they do is that there are a lot of research goes in by all these brands like a Horlicks or any of these, Boost or Complan. They've figured it out how to entice a child, and then they will say the child will start pestering your mother. I want this, I want this, I want this, and they make sure the mother takes a decision. So they are not buying it. They are so important to make the purchase happen for the mother too. So go to a shop, Hamleys, any of these brands, they know exactly how to target
Yeah,
the
I know.
audience.
हमारे बच्चों ने भी किया है ना.
Exactly.
Tantrums दिखाना. You also have a daughter, and
exactly.
I
I
have two
know
boys.
how she does it, and she knows it so well, and she knows how to trigger that part of me and say, okay, अब ये लेना है, कैसे लेना है, she'll figure it out. So that's what I'm saying. So ads are all about psychology.
Absolutely.
How you work on the mind of a customer, and what story you narrate. So there are 2-3 ways of narrating a story. Humor works very well. Okay, now humor works very well on a story. Also, what is the need? There's a need, there's a gap on the need. Like for example, Maggie. Now before Maggie came, there were these mothers used to be in the kitchen for hours making rotis and stuff like that, okay, and making sure that all the men are catered to. But when Maggie came, they're very smart. They said 2 मिनट में आपका एक वो बन जाता है, मैगी बनता है, राइट? 2 मिनट में कोई भी बना सकते हो. एक बच्चे आज के डेट में मैगी बना सकते हैं. सो यू डोंट नीड दैट एस्पेक्ट ऑफ ये मसाला डालो, ये करो, खाना बनाओ, चाउमीन बनाओ, ये जो करते थे हम लोग पहले, वो नहीं करना है. आप एक 2 मिनट में मैगी कहीं पे भी बैठ के बना सकते हो.
वैसे 2 मिनट में बनती नहीं है, लेकिन ठीक है.
But that strategy worked. Maggie, that's what Coca-Cola, open happiness. If you look at their tagline, open
Tagline
happiness.
is so powerful.
Yeah, open happiness. Yes, open happiness. It has a double meaning. Open happiness, you open the cap, and then open happiness of your life. So see, imagine this one little tagline can make such a difference to your mind. Though we all know that aerated drinks are not, but we will still drink. People are drinking. Children are picking it up
Because
from the shelf and drinking.
emotionally it has
Emotionally touched you. Correct. And you look at any ad like any insurance ad, they touch from the other aspect of risk. They touch on, if you do not have a term insurance, then what is going to happen to you? Okay, so they touch on the risk, they touch on those aspects. So there you can't give a happiness quotient, right? So you need to be
some kind of emotional touch
has to be there. Then you start thinking, oh shit, I need to do this, I need to buy this product, I need to get this insurance, I need to get into an SBI, because पुराने ज़माने से मेरे parents करते थे. अभी मेरे को my child, as a son, I need to get into the younger version of SBI, right? So there are so many ways to entice a customer, and ad and storytelling is the only way. I think the storytelling is the only way. It doesn't have to be an ad. It can be a storytelling in a small way, that you can actually narrate your story about your product, your journey. आप कैसे भी उसको कर सकते हो.
True. Now we mentioned about kids here, and we mentioned about storytelling, and you said how my daughter triggers me. ये भी मुझे अच्छे से पता है, right?
Correct.
So let's just talk about how difficult it is to manage work, because you were first of all working in a company.
Yes.
जब आप marketing head होते हैं, ठीक है, a lot of things are taken
care of.
Because I have also come from a corporate background.
Absolutely.
So I would also share some of the stories that everything is taken care of. You go, you work, and then you're back.
Absolutely. You're only concentrating on your
yes.
work. Yeah.
But when you turn into an entrepreneur,
Yes.
entrepreneurship glamorized है, लेकिन there is a lot that you're
Whole
doing.
lot.
In fact, you're doing more than
Much more, because as an
when you're in a
entrepreneur
job.
you also make your bills. As an entrepreneur you also go and meet a client. As an entrepreneur you also sign a check. As an entrepreneur you also operate like a guard. So it's okay. So as an entrepreneur when I was, brand head for Absolute Vodka, I had full team. I had an accounts team, I had a marketing team, I had a sales team, I had everything sorted. But when I became an entrepreneur, I am a sales manager, I am the marketing head, I am the guard, I am the everything, right?
There is a beautiful term I will just mention here, C2C. I heard it somewhere. C2C.
C2C.
Chaprasi
Chapra
to CEO.
CEO, absolutely. C2C, exactly. I like that. C2C. So yes, so we are C2C. But yes, I think as an entrepreneur, when you turn an entrepreneur, you learn a lot. You learn legal, which you learn so many aspects of it. You learn failures. You know how to follow up. You have to follow up with clients for payments. So there's so many things that you do as an entrepreneur, right? And you have to, the buck stops at you. Even if you have 50 people in your company, the buck stops at you. The failure is yours, success is yours as well as with others, but failure is always yours. So that is one thing as an entrepreneur. So that's why a lot of people do not take the risk of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, तो अगर आप responsibility ले सकते हो, then you can be an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, job is fine for you if you are in a habit of blaming others.
Blaming others, blame to others. Correct. So that is what. But being an entrepreneur, yes, it is not easy. Being an entrepreneur, and also I'm a single mother. So as a single mother, there is a lot of challenges that I go through. As a woman also, there are a lot of challenges. But yes, I don't think I give up on those. I do not believe in giving up. I believe in taking up challenges and making sure that I overcome those challenges. I work on those challenges and also support, because all fingers are not the same. So we need to work with people, be it men, be it women. We work with everybody.
And you mentioned that you are a single mother.
Yes,
and it becomes even more challenging, and it becomes so imperative to have a support system that's always there with a child.
Yes, and I'm thankful that I have a support system. And without a support system, it is not possible, because my daughter is 9 years old and it is not easy to manage home, work, and as an entrepreneur especially, you have so many things to deal with. And I think, but I'm in a happy space. Plus I also do meditation. I am into Buddhism. I follow a lot of other things. So that gives me keeps me balanced, because I cannot be because it also sometimes gets overwhelming.
Yeah, that's what. So how do you manage on tough days? Because होगा ही ना overwhelm, कितनी सारी चीजें हैं.
Meditation helps me a lot, because I meditate twice a day. I read a lot. I am into music. I sing, and I play harmonium. I do all that because that gives me a lot of vent on a lot of things that I do. I'm doing a song. I'm actually recorded it. I'm going to sing that song. It's going to be, I'm going to create a video. So I do all that also.
Wow, and we'll leave the link in the description box for that song.
That's still going to be, I've just done the recording in a studio. Now I'm going to do a video. I'm going to actually do a proper, shoot with the cinematographer and kind of stuff. So these are all my things that I do to keep myself going, just not doing my work, because work is good, but you can't be just getting stuck on work. You need to do other things also to make sure that you are becoming a holistic individual. You're just not focusing on one. I read a lot of books, all kinds of books. So, and I write a lot. I sing, so I do all this.
And so absolutely right that it's so important to take breaks, because otherwise, no doubt, it will just
overwhelming.
Yeah, and it will lead to burnout अगर आप breaks नहीं ले रहे हैं. But last word for some women who are actually raising their children alone, because you're doing that. Of course, आपने support system अपना build up किया है, and which is very important. Otherwise, it becomes difficult. But they're managing household and they're managing outside world also, because it becomes imperative to manage both the worlds.
Yes.
How do they go about it?
I think the only way is there are good days, there are bad days. Okay? And good days, have fun. And bad days, when there are bad days, the way I do it, I meditate, I write down, I have a journal. I write down my entire day, how it was. I am also a person who believes in gratitude. I also say thank you to everybody who's around me, who is, there, what kind of support I'm getting. So all that gives me a lot of courage. And the other thing, I always say that don't give up. Be resilient. Don't give up. There will be bad days. Don't worry on that. And managing them is leave the children alone. The way I look at it is, you cannot micromanage, you cannot be a helicopter mom. Leave them alone, they will grow. Just be there, guide them what is required. Don't be, don't just go hoovering around them. Just leave them. That's what I do with my daughter, and it's helping me. And I'm seeing her growing up to be a beautiful young lady.
हम लोग सोचते हैं कि हम उन्हें मिस्टेक्स नहीं करने देते हैं,
मैं तो चाहती हूँ मिस्टेक्स करें, बिकॉज जितने मिस्टेक्स करेंगे तभी वो सीखेंगे. अगर फेलियर्स नहीं होते तो सीखेंगे नहीं. So like lot of times it happens when she rides the cycle and she's fallen so many times and she said, "Mama, I'm hurt." I said, "Very good, get up and go again." Hurt तो क्या हो गया? Hurt तो है ही, चाहिए hurt. You need to be hurt. Because that is how you will learn. अगर आप every time looking at me, it will not work. True. So this is something I want to say to every mother. It doesn't have to be single or with family. But yes, I think that it is important to make yourself resilient. And also another thing, guys, please take care of yourself. Love yourself.
So important.
So important.
And
love
it's not
yourself.
overrated. हर जगह हम self love सुन रहे हैं, but I'm telling you, this is in fact still underrated.
It is
this
underrated.
This concept is still to bloom.
Yes.
इसको और बात करने की ज़रूरत है, इसको और आगे लाने की ज़रूरत है.
Absolutely.
That because once you are full, you will be able to manage things better.
Exactly. You are full. Like, look at yourself. You are a mother.
Absolutely.
You're running podcast. You're in the wellness space. You have 2 boys, and you're doing everything. So
Absolutely.
How? Because you love yourself.
Absolutely.
So the only way to do this is love yourself. Take care of yourself. Only when you take care of yourself, you can take care of others.
Absolutely, that's the stepping stone. I always say that life is always a wheel.
Yes.
Health is most important.
It is the
and
most
health
important.
covers your mental health, your
Yes.
physical health, your
Yes.
emotional health, your spiritual
Right.
health.
Exactly.
And that's what self-love is.
Exactly.
It's not just about putting some pack on your face,
Exactly.
but it's taking care of yourself in a whole rounded way.
Yes.
That's
True.
what self-care
Thank you so
is, and
much.
that's
I
what
think
self-love
that it
is.
And I think it was a great experience for me to have this conversation with you. It was a really free-flowing conversation.
Absolutely.
And I think you're doing fantastic. I would love everybody to follow you, your channel.
So sweet of you.
And it's a great thing that you're doing, and great going.
And thank you so much. I learned so much from you today, not just about branding, personal branding, but also about life.
Oh, thank you.
This is so amazing,
Yes,
guys.
we
I
can
mean,
have
I
more
loved it.
conversations later.
Absolutely. And I really want to hug you right now. Yeah.
Thank you.
So good to have you. Thank you so much, Gargi, for being on the show.
Thank you so much too. Thank you.